Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I turned my hat to the side a little bit. I wanted to get a little light to my face. Kids go back to school this week, so I will be going to get my hair done. Because listen, I can keep wearing these hats, y'all. So y'all come on in, come on in, come on in. About to get some learn on tonight. Y'all see I ain't got no jewelry on, no earrings, no necklace, no nothing. I gotta repolish my nails. I just been getting the kids ready for school. They ready, they down for bed. So wanted to come on here tonight. All day today I've been seeing a couple questions being asked, so there's some things I wanted to address because yes, of course, I'm sharing my story with you guys, but that's not my purpose. I want you guys to know first and foremost, anytime you see me, you meet me, I'm doing something out in the community or here on Facebook, I'm all about awareness 100%. So me sharing my story most of the time is very minimal. I very rarely get on here and be like, hey, this is my story, this is what happened. Because that is not my purpose of my advocacy and my awareness. Excuse me, y'all. I ate something real quick before I got on here. I'm going to finish it when I'm done. But it's not McDonald's. I want y'all to know that. I just had to give me a little sweet tea. And I got hiccups right now too, so y'all gotta bear with me. So my advocacy and my awareness, my awareness is all about education. Oh, come on, hiccups, go away. Come on, diaphragm. Look, come on, diaphragm, get it back in place. Got me over here with these hiccups and stuff. If you don't know, whenever you have hiccups, it's because your diaphragm is out of place. That's what separates your top half of your abdominal wall from the bottom half. Look, a little physical education right there. That's why y'all always hear people talking about, oh, jump up and down and this. Put your diaphragm back in place. We ain't jumping up and down on live. Hey, sis. Hey, everybody. All right, so I got a little notepad here because I want to make sure. I got 3 topics I'm going to talk about tonight, and I'm not going to make it very long and drawn out. We're going to talk about signs and symptoms because a lot of people have been asking me about what did I experience before I knew my status. Did I have signs or symptoms? And then I'm going to talk about dormancy. Now, when I say dormancy, I'm talking about when you hear people say, oh, HIV can lie dormant for 10 years. We're going to talk about that. Hey, James, what's up, babe? All right, so we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about the actual virus itself. Because a lot of people, they hear HIV virus. Oh, excuse me, y'all, these hiccups. They hear HIV virus, but they don't really understand how the virus works. They don't know what it attacks. All they know is if I have unprotected sex with somebody, I can get HIV if they got it. They don't understand how HIV actually works, how it attacks the body. What does it do once it enters the bloodstream? They don't know this stuff, so I'm going to break this stuff down to you. This is stuff I know front, back, side to side, back, all of that. All right, so if you guys have any questions, if you're watching right now, you have any questions as I go along, please feel free to ask questions because I don't want your questions to get overlooked as I'm going and talking. Because sometimes when I'm talking to you guys, I feel like I'm just like sitting here right in your face. I'm giving you eye-to-eye contact. Most times I don't even read the comments until they already scrolling by. So, I try to make it as personal as possible. So when you're watching me, you feel like I'm sitting here with you, educating you. All right, so let's talk about signs and symptoms. Now, you guys, if you go on Google, CDC website, HIV.org, Gov, all these different websites, there's always going to be a section that's going to say, it will say HIV and AIDS, and then it'll have signs and symptoms as a subcategory. Now, someone asked today, what signs and symptoms did I notice before the doctor told me I was HIV positive? And my answer to that is nothing. Nothing at all. Whenever you meet someone who's HIV positive, most times they're going to tell you they never experienced anything. Now, those who have experienced signs and symptoms, most likely it's because they've been infected for a long period of time, and they're to the point now where from the initial infection, their body is just now trying to catch up to, you know, how far along they've had it, and the body is fighting. The body's been fighting from the time they got infected to the time they got to a point of noticing certain signs and symptoms that are usually listed, like fatigue, KS sores. And if you guys don't know what KS sores, I'll explain what that is. If you guys ever watched the movie Philadelphia with Tom Hanks and Tom Hanks and Denzel Washington, then you will know what I'm talking about when I say KS sores, or KS lesions. And so certain little things, they'll say, oh, you might feel like you got a cough or feel like a cold. You might get the flu, you know, pneumonia, stuff like that. Now, understand this. Literally. Yeah, James just said something in the chat, you guys. He just said, I've been told by dentists that they can tell your status before most doctors. And that is true, and I'm going to tell you guys why. I'll tell you guys why. So keep me, remind me, James, if I get along and I don't mention it, remind me, okay? So these signs and symptoms, you guys, are usually what people experience when they've had the HIV virus for a long period of time. So for me, my exposure was less than 3 months. So I was not infected, say, a year, 2 years. Like, for example, I posted an article today where a man went to jail because from 2008 up until the lady found out, which was 10 years later, he had done infected her. They had been sleeping together for 10 years. And 10 whole years, she never went to the doctor to get tested. Hi, Sway. How you go 10 whole years, you never got an HIV test? That means you didn't go to the doctor, because at some point when you go to your doctor, especially a gynecologist, they are going to check you. Literally. They will say, oh, you haven't had this test in a long time. They're going to check you. So clearly that lady in that article that man got arrested for had not been to the doctor. So therefore, at 10 years, she probably had been on medicine, nothing. So she probably went downhill. That's why she found out she got sick. And so, literally, there is listen, I need y'all to hear this. Hear it. Let it go in and stay in. Don't let it come over here. Don't let it go out, okay? You will never, ever be able to know if you are HIV positive by anything physical or mental. Literally, never. The only way to know if you're HIV positive is to get tested. You can't go by a cough, a cold, a scratch, or a sore. Oh, I had unprotected sex, now I'm sick. Now I got a cold. Maybe they done gave me something. You can't go by any of that. You can't go by none of that to say, oh, I might have HIV. No. You have to physically go and get tested to know for sure. I meet so many people all the time, even just recent as people inboxing me, who will say, I'm afraid to get tested. You're afraid to get tested, but what's going to happen if you are actually infected, and because you didn't go get tested, when you finally do get sick enough and you're in the hospital, you're literally probably on a near death bed. You don't want to wait that long. If you know that you've had risky activity or possible exposure, you want to go and get checked right then. Or at least wait that window that they tell you. You initially want to go, for example, if you get stuck by a needle, this can happen with RNs, anybody that deals with needles and blood, or any type of exposure to blood in an accidental type of way. You want to go immediately so that you can be put on PEP, post-exposure prophylaxis. Now, what is post-exposure prophylaxis? Basically, if you are exposed in any kind of way to the HIV virus, they will run your blood against against the HIV medicines. They will give you an HIV regimen to take. That regimen is going to lower the chances and the risk of you possibly becoming infected in the event that whoever's blood you came in contact with is HIV positive. So again, that's called PEP, post-exposure prophylaxis. All right. Yeah. I see. My sister responded to somebody. You cannot tell by somebody's weight that they're HIV positive. I know people that's 350 pounds and they HIV positive. So weight is never, ever a reason to say, oh, they so skinny, they got AIDS. No, because guess what? This 350 pound person probably got HIV or AIDS. So you cannot go by weight. My weight can go up and down based on what I eat, how I eat. I'm a diabetic, so I have to follow a strict diet. So my weight can change at any moment. It could be a medication that makes somebody lose or gain weight. You can't just assume that just because somebody loses weight that they're HIV positive. Can't tell by looking at all, period. If you pass me on the street somewhere, you're not going to just assume that, and you don't know me, you're not going to just say, oh, she got HIV. You can't look at somebody and tell. That's why it's important to always know your status and the person's status who you're sleeping with. All right, so again, signs and symptoms. Whenever somebody is diagnosed for a long time, or they're infected for a long time, that's when, at that 10-year mark, and this has been proven through various trials. They've watched people over the years. So it's something that's been documented. Now it's a lot less prevalent because we have better and more meds that keep us healthier a lot longer. It slows down the progression of the virus a lot longer. So at 10 years, it used to be a thing of once somebody hits that 10-year mark, that's when they will start to show signs of the disease. Like those sores, they might get scabs, sores. They might lose weight. They might start experiencing fatigue. Always tired all the time. That's what those websites are telling you guys. They're not telling you that before you find out that you have HIV, this is what you might experience. What they're telling you is once you're HIV positive, at some point you may experience these signs or symptoms. So please understand that. A lot of people get that confused. They start Googling, and you know what happened when you Google. By the time you Google, you dead, right? By the time you finish Googling and you done hit about 40, 50 websites, you are dead according to Google. So you have to read. They put fine prints on there. They let you know, hey, I've never experienced signs or symptoms. I've never noticed signs or symptoms in my ex-husband. Never noticed it. This man was vibrant. He was moving around. He was doing everything. He was always active. He was never showing any signs of anything. He didn't even look like he had anything. Like, you know what they say? Everything that look good ain't always good. But he looked good. Just like a lot of people who are HIV positive. They are beautiful. They look healthy. They are everything that you would not expect them to be HIV positive. So you can't just go by how somebody looks. The next topic I want to talk about is dormancy. I kind of talked about it a little bit just then, but I want to go in depth. So when I say dormancy, it's that line that everybody says. It's the line that everybody says, "Oh, HIV can lie dormant for 10 years." Listen, I just told you what happens at the 10-year mark. So let's break it down. Say you become exposed to the virus and you in fact become infected. If you go and get tested, say for example you find, say it's been 3 weeks. I want y'all to listen to the time stamps that I'm going to give you. Say, okay, 3 weeks ago you had sex with someone unprotected or the condom broke. Here it is 3 weeks later, you find out this person possibly might be HIV positive, or you find out they are HIV positive. What do? The first thing you want to do is go to a clinic, a public health department, your doctor, whoever. You want to go see a physician. You want to let them know, hey, I've possibly been exposed to the HIV virus. They're going to do what I told you as far as that PEP, that post-exposure prophylaxis. And then they're going to say, here, take this regimen as I tell you. Come and see me at that 3-month mark. That 3-month mark, they're going to say, come see me and get tested. So 3 months from the time that you were exposed or possibly infected, come see me at that 3-month mark and we're going to test you. So you've taken that PEP for that whole time period, however long they told you to take it. You go, you get tested. Your test comes back negative. They're going to say, okay, I see you back again in another 3 months. Why? Because they're not going to go by just one negative test, because, of course, it can take, depending on your personal immune system, it can take the virus anywhere from 3 months to a year to show up on a test. So now here it is, 3 months later. So at this point it's 6 months later from when you were possibly exposed or infected. You go, you test. That test comes back negative. Guess what? The doctor's going to tell you, at this point we've tested you twice. And at this point you have not shown to be HIV positive. Your test is showing you're HIV negative. Now if you want, you can come back a third time. And you can come back a third time at the 1 year mark. They're not going to say come back in another 3 months. They're going to put you at a 1 year mark. Now, some doctors may put you on those 3 month intervals. But for the most part, they may say come back at that 1 year mark. Let's test you. If you have any issues before then, definitely give us a call. But they may put you at that 1 year mark. Because what they're doing is they know, okay, you've tested negative at 3 months. You've tested negative at 6 months. So at the most, it's going to take a year if in fact you are infected to possibly show up. And again, this is based on your immune system. Everybody's immune system fights infections and diseases differently. No two people are the same. Even identical twins. Okay? So, say you do come back at that 6 month mark. And they tell you that you're HIV positive. Now what they're going to do, the 2 week wait at this point, they're going to draw your blood, because they might have done some quick tests. So they're going to draw your blood. You're going to wait 2 whole weeks. You're going to be stressing. You're going to be sweating. You're going to call your bestest, closest friend. You're going to tell them, man, look, I made a mistake, blah, 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 blah. You're going to go through all the motions because you got to wait 2 whole weeks. Who want to wait 2 weeks? And so at that 1 year mark, you will know for sure if that possible exposure that you had from either the condom breaking or unprotected sex, you'll know at that 1 year mark if you are HIV positive or HIV negative. After that year, HIV is not gonna, within that first year, it's gonna pop up. It's not gonna wait It's not gonna wait 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years down the road to pop up. That's not how the virus works at all. That's why my last topic is to explain to you guys how the virus works. So within the first year after you possibly been exposed, you're gonna know your status. It's gonna be positive or negative. Why do people say it takes HIV 10 years to show up? They say this because most people don't find out they're infected. Just like I just discussed in my first topic. Most people don't find out they're HIV. And that could be 2, 3, 5, 6, 9, 10 years down the road based on their immune system. I see y'all talking about the dental. So I'm gonna hit that real quick. So why is it that a dentist can possibly tell if you're infected with HIV before an actual doctor? And I see some people have already commented and said why. It's because the HIV virus goes directly where any type of bacteria will go in the body. Of course, we use our mouths to eat food. So of course your mouth is a breeding area for bacteria. People get gingivitis, they get halitosis, they get all this stuff. That's where the HIV virus levitates to. It levitates and goes to those target areas. And so the gums, being that they're the most sensitive, they're the easiest to bleed. If you brush, sometimes you might get bleeding gums. That's a sign of something wrong. That's not a sign of HIV if you have bleeding gums. It's a sign of something being wrong. So for people who are HIV positive, they make sure, like I was in Vegas. I was supposed to go to the dentist that Friday before I came back from Vegas. My dentist office called me and say, listen, we got to reschedule. I go. They bring me up in that thing. Every time it's time for me to come, every 6 months, I'm up in there. I'm in there. Because they want to make sure I don't have no issues. They want to make sure this and that and the other. Because I've had teeth pulled in the past, but I've had teeth pulled because I had braces in the past. And at the time, they didn't know that the cement they were using would eventually cause decay to the teeth wherever they put the appliances. That's why now they come up with the whole Invisalign stuff and all that, where they ain't got to use the cement and stuff. Back in the day, the cement they were using was harmful to teeth, and they didn't know it. They were putting it. And so everywhere on my back molars where I had cement for my appliances, those teeth began to have issues. And I had to have wisdom teeth pulled out. So I make sure I go and get checked. I don't care about this right here, because look, I didn't wear my retainer. I tell anybody any day of the week, listen, I told that orthodontist my retainer was too tight and it was hurting. I couldn't wear it. He refused to adjust my retainer, so I said, I don't care. I ain't wearing it. When I was 18, I was 19 or 20. I hadn't had my daughter. I was like, look, if I get older and I need to get more braces or whatever, I just do that. I say, but I'm not finna sit here and be in agony and pain because you don't want to fix my retainer. So my bottom shifted. My bottom shifted and my top shifted some. But, so yeah, going to the dentist is very important. I ain't trying to give y'all a whole dental, look, my whole dental life. Y'all getting all my life, getting the dental life, all that, jeez. But, so that is why it's important for, that's why dentists can find out or can kind of hint that somebody has HIV or some kind of health issues when they go to the dentist before a physician. All right, last topic, you guys. Last topic, because I'm going to be going to iron some clothes for school tomorrow. I got book bags ready. So the last topic is the virus itself. The human... Somebody tell me what it is. I'm not even gonna say it. Somebody type it in the chat. I don't care if you have a typo, as long as you close to it, somebody type and tell me what HIV stands for in the chat. If you already know what it stands for, don't type it. I want people who don't know me or don't follow me or aren't an advocate, I want y'all to answer it. If you already know the answer, I better not see your name pop up. Raquel. Okay, so what is HIV? HIV. All right. Somebody trying to call me. I had to send a voicemail. All right. Now somebody type and tell me what is the acronym for AIDS? What does AIDS stand for? What are the letters for AIDS? All right, so I see HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, correct. So what about AIDS? What does AIDS acronym stand for? And thank y'all for participating. And, you know, sometimes you might go on somebody live and they talking to the people and the people just be sitting there like saying nothing. All right, somebody tell me what AIDS stands for. You know, Krishan, don't get blocked. Don't get banned on here. We don't use stigmatizing words on my page and on my post. I ban people. I'm very laid back and cool. I'm real mellow. I'm real humble. But when you use stigmatizing statements on my page or video or post, I will ban you. So you want to come back and give another response, Krishan, before that happens? Because I personally don't have to say anything to you because the chat is going to eat you alive. And I'm not going to be Project Pat. I ain't saving nobody. So, let's not do that. Let's not be stigmatizing. And we're going to do a whole video on stigmatizing. All right, so Krishan said that she's not being funny. That's what she was told. So we're going to break it down. I'm going to break down stigma. That's going to be my fourth topic, but I'm going to add that. Let's moving forward. The virus itself. All right. Let me see who. Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome is what AIDS stands for. Thank you. All right. So this is what happens when the HIV virus enters your body. All right. You've been exposed, whether it's through, listen, Carla, I'm straight out the hood, boo, but I'm real conservative, but I'm real hood at the same time. Listen, look, let me stop. All right, back to the topic. Y'all going to have me on a whole nother topic. Listen. All right, so you've been exposed, whether it's through accidental exposure, unprotected sex. You've now been exposed. Here's the HIV virus. It's fresh blood. I'm going in. When it gets into your bloodstream, the first thing it's going to look for is a host. H-O-S-T. It's going to look for a host because the HIV virus cannot live without a host. It can't live without a host. The host is your white blood cell. The host is your white blood cells. These white blood cells are also called your T helper cells or your CD4 cells. You might hear any of these words used. You might hear white blood cell, CD4, or T helper cells. These are the cells that help you fight off infection. So the virus goes straight to look for those. Now, where are they going to find these cells at? They're going to find these cells anywhere in your body where they are potentially at work fighting off infection. So say, for example, you got a cold and maybe you got swollen lymph nodes. Your white blood cells, say they're at those swollen lymph nodes, they're going to go to your lymph nodes. They're going to go and attack those white blood cells. And that's why a lot of times when people, like I say, sometimes people can experience some of these things. They can experience sore throats and stuff, and it could just be a cold, but they don't know it could be more than that until, later on. So it's possible. But again, you don't want to assume that because you got a sore throat or this, that it's HIV. But it goes to those white blood cells, and it attacks it. So on your white blood cells, if you've ever seen a diagram of a white blood cell, there's these little points that come out of that. So what it's going to do, it's going to go to that cell. It's going to attack the whole cell. Once it attacks the whole outer cell, then it begins to try to invade the actual white blood cell. So just like, for example, just like sperm and egg. A sperm does what? It attacks the egg. All the sperms go to this one egg, and one tries to get into that egg. Same thing with an HIV cell. With the HIV attacking the white blood cell. The HIV is going to go to that white blood cell. It's going to try to invade it and go inside it. And once it's inside, guess what it does? It is now, it makes itself, it takes over that whole cell. But guess what? Because it went inside that cell, now it's hiding. It's hiding, and it's now an exact replica of your real white blood cell. It's the exact replica of your real white blood cell. So say, for example, because the HIV, your body automatically tries to fight off any foreign object. So say while the HIV cell is still in the process of trying to replicate, a real white blood cell comes along and is like, wait a minute, this look like me, but I'm sensing that it's something different, it's something wrong. But I want to attack it, but I don't know because it look like me, look like one of my family. So what happens is, once this cell has now completely replicated itself and it looks like this, that white blood cell is, okay, that's me. Let me go on and find the real issue. So it's like, okay, I done mastered this. So now let me go and invade another cell. So now let me go and find another white blood cell that I can go and let one of my minions off to attack. And that's what the HIV virus does. It goes from cell to cell, attacking until it takes over and replicates and is an identical replica of your white blood cell. So what happens is, unless you get tested, you don't know that your white blood cells are not compromised by the HIV virus at all. And so that's what it does. It does that. So when you hear people say, oh, somebody has a viral load of 3,000, what does that mean? What does it mean when somebody says somebody has a viral load of 3,000? This is what it means. That means that they've taken one drop of your blood. Most of you, I would hope, have taken some type of chemistry class or biology class. Probably more so biology. Like anatomy, physiology, stuff like that. So you've used a microscope, you've used a slide, you know how to make a slide, you know how to do smears, you know how to do all that stuff. Once you do it one time, you kind of really know how to do it because it's fun and it's easy, right? You ain't doing no work in class. So what's happening at that point is they take one drop of blood. Here's my slide. They take one drop of blood, they put it on there. They put it under a microscope. Of course, now you know they have a lot of digital microscopes, so it ain't like back in the day they got to sit there and just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a drop of blood. No. They are able to use a microscope that digitally can count how many HIV viruses are in that one drop of blood. So in that one drop of blood, if they tell you your viral load is 3,000, that means in that one drop of blood, they found 3,000 HIV cells. Okay? Y'all with me? We on the same page? Give me a thumbs up. Give me some hearts if we on the same page. I want to make sure I ain't lost nobody. I want to make sure if anybody got questions, that you guys ask the questions and we get it. And we get you guys educated 100%. Okay, so that's what viral load is. So when you hear now in 2019, you're hearing about undetectable. U equals U, undetectable. You hearing that U word, undetectable. Some people might say undetected. That's okay. We gonna get you straight. It's undetectable. Undetectable. So, when you hear them say someone is undetectable, that whole process I told you about, that one drop of blood. Now, when you're undetectable, when they get that one drop of blood and they look under that microscope, if you're undetectable, that means when they're counting, they see less than 20 copies of the HIV virus. Which means the medicines that you're taking or your natural immune system is so strong, it's fighting that virus, that medicine is fighting the virus, And the virus is having a hard time replicating because it's only about 20 copies in that drop of blood or less. That's what the medicine does. It lowers the amount of HIV virus in the body. That's what it does. It lowers it. A lot of people don't know this information. That's why I said, you know what? I'm going to come to you guys tonight and I'm going to give you this information. I did not want to wait another day, another nothing. I wanted to do it tonight after I got my kids situated to get ready for school, because I felt like people were eager to know this information, but they just didn't know how to say it, or they would just continue to ask questions because they wanted to know but didn't know how to relay the message of, hey, can you teach me? Can you educate me? Can you tell me? So that's why I went ahead and did this tonight. Now, what was that for? Who can remember what that fourth topic I said I was going to talk about? I said I was going to talk about a fourth topic. Somebody remind me real quick. Because I totally, I've totally forgot. I don't have a pen, so I didn't write it down. So somebody remind me if you remember, Raquel, somebody. What was my fourth topic I said I was going to add on? Oh, yes. Thank you, Denicia. Stigma. All right, listen. Stigma. I did the dentist stuff, not dentist. Look, pay attention, sis. Pay attention. Now, stigma. All right. Stigma basically is stigma is not just associated with HIV. You have HIV stigmatization, but you have stigmatization across all areas of life, in all topics. But when it regards to HIV and AIDS, stigma is when you knowingly or unknowingly treat someone in a negative way because of their HIV status. Let me say that again. It's when you knowingly or unknowingly treat someone in a negative way because of their HIV status. Or you use a certain word or phrase that is negative. So, for example, I did a stigma video, and I'll post it after this live because I want you guys to hear some of these words. What I did when I made this video, I reached out to my people on my page, and I said, hey, I want you guys to give me words. Like, what's some negative words you've heard associated with the word HIV? Some people said, like the young lady said, that die slow. The monster. What's some, y'all, let's do it right now while we on chat. What, y'all, give me some negative words that you've heard used in association with HIV. Let's see how many we can come up with. People might say the bug. Yeah, that's one. The bug. The monster, that die slow, that ninja. I think that's the one people love to say the most. That ninja. Death sentence. Yes, that's one. The package. Child, listen. Oh, I heard so-so got that package, y'all. What package? FedEx? Look, somebody's got that package. I hate the word. I hate when they say that package, y'all. I hate package and I hate that die slow, because listen. Or I hate when somebody just say sick. They be like, oh, that's that sick person. Like, I used to get called a sick chick. People used to say, oh, and when they want to be negative, I'm the sick chick. And it's crazy. My bad, y'all. My phone just ringing. The virus. The chicken. I ain't never heard no chicken. The backpack. Where y'all getting these words from? I ain't never heard no backpack. The backpack. What? Alright, so so basically it's when you're being negative. Now, how do you avoid that? By simply becoming educated. Simply reading an article, watching a video like you guys are watching tonight. Just by simply, look, The Walking Dead, child, listen. I definitely heard that before. I tell people all the time. People say, "Oh, that's why you gonna die." Let me make y'all laugh, cause we've had a serious moment for this video, but I gotta make y'all laugh. This by far is the funniest thing I ever heard in my life. I had somebody tell me one time, well, that's why you got that ish and you gonna die. You know what I said to them? Well, guess what? As far as I know, you gonna die too. So what's the difference? I say if I'ma die, you gonna die. Just as sure as you are born into this world, you will die. So what type of logical thinking does somebody do when they just blurt out and be like, well, that's why you gonna die? Well, shoot, you finna die too? What you mean? I'll be like, oh my God. Sometimes I just be like, I ain't even gonna say nothing. Because, like, do they think they're immortal? I don't know. And most times, this is the part that gets a lot of people. People who are HIV positive and they actually take their medicines in their regimen, most times live longer than people who don't even have the virus. I have met people who have lived, battled, and fought and got in remission, and some who have died of cancer, who have told me out of their own mouths, I would rather deal with the virus that you deal with of HIV than to fight off cancer. I've had people tell me that. People think that HIV is the worst disease that you can ever have in your life. It's not. Cancer is taking people out of here like HIV and AIDS did in the 70s and 80s and 90s. Are you guys paying attention? Cancer is taking people out of here faster than anything in this world. Yes, people are getting exposed and infected with the HIV virus at high rates, but they're not dying. You see what I'm saying? And, you know, people, that's why I try to tell people, like, you know, I used to have people say I'm trying to push dating somebody with HIV on people that's negative. I've had people say that. Oh, you trying to get people that's negative to sleep with or be with somebody that's HIV positive. And I tell you, guess what? No, that's not what I'm trying to do. What I do as an advocate is I educate you on the virus, how it's transmitted, how you prevent it, and if you are infected, how you live a life full and lively and joyous and happy despite your infection. And in doing that, it shows people who are negative that, yes, you may have a fear of possibly getting infected, but if you're educated on the virus, then you know what to do off rip, off top. You know what to do to protect yourself. If you meet someone who approaches you and they say to you, you know, I need to let you know. Say you on a date with somebody and they approach you and they say, listen, I really enjoy us going out on dates and I really enjoy spending time with you, but I really need to let you know something. I need to let you know that I'm HIV positive. And if you are that person who has probably watched this video, read books, had the education, understand the disease in its entirety or for the majority, then you could be one of those persons who would say, well, you know what? That disease doesn't define you. That disease doesn't mean that I can't love you as a person or I can't be there for you as a person. Now, of course, nobody's obligated to be with or date somebody who has HIV. If somebody approach you and y'all done dated and they tell you throughout the date, because remember, don't confuse dating with relationship. A lot of people confuse dating with relationship. Dating is just a casual thing. There's no commitment. There's no tie. There's no bond. You're learning someone. So don't confuse the two. That's a whole nother topic for sure. Because people out like, I ain't going to date nobody with HIV. But you're just going out. You're going out. You're having fun. You're not sleeping with them unless you're one of them people that like to sleep with somebody on the first date. I don't know. But dating is just a casual thing. So if you date someone and they disclose their status, by all means, if you're not comfortable with it, if you feel you are not educated enough, by all means, just let the person know in the most sincere way, not rude, not angry, and not, just all negative. Don't let them know. Just let them know, hey, well, I understand that, and at this point in my life right now, I'm just not comfortable dating or being with somebody who's HIV positive. And I guarantee you, you telling them that in that manner versus telling them, oh my God, what you mean you got HIV? Oh no, you got me taking you out on dates and you got me doing this, and they being all crazy and stuff. When they start doing that, when somebody starts acting like that, that's when you done dodged a bullet already. Yeah, cause look, yes, I'm HIV positive, but I'm only gonna put up with so much. For me, when I had to figure out how do I tell somebody my status, because I knew at the point I was open with my status, but it wasn't like the whole world and the whole city or a whole lot of people knew when it first happened. So, I had to figure out, how do I disclose? How do I tell? So I was dating this guy, and he was in the military. We met, I don't even remember how we met. We met somewhere. And so we were going out on a couple dates, and this is, like I said, this was at a time when I was ready to start dating again, and I was trying to figure out, too, how do I disclose? Do I tell them up front? Do I wait till they say they want to have a serious situation, or before they might try to kiss me or something like that? So me and this guy, we had been on about maybe 4 or 5 dates in about about a month and a half to 2 month span. Of course, we would have lunch and stuff like that, but actual dates maybe 4 or 5. And so I say, we went down, we were walking on the riverfront, and we were talking, and he was like, I really enjoy our time. I really like being around you, and I really feel like, this could be something. And so I knew at that point, all right, Renee, this when you got to do it. You got to do it. This was like my first real time ever having to disclose my status to somebody who didn't know. And so I told him my status. And he was like, wow. And I explained to him what happened. And he was real intrigued. He was listening. He was like, wow, that's messed up, man, that somebody would do that. So we get in the car because we planned. We went down to the riverfront. We was like, well, we was going to go to the beach. So we had to cross the bridge. So we was like, we're going to go to the beach. They had some little clubs open at night. We were going to go have some fun. So we cross the bridge. And he starts to get off on a service road exit. And so I'm looking like, well, where's he going? We just got to go straight to go to the beach. So he pulls on the side of the road. He put his hazard lights on, and he looked over at me with the straightest face, y'all. I'll never forget this man's face. I don't remember his name for nothing. Don't ask me how I don't remember this man's name. But I know he was in the Navy. He looked at me with the straightest face, and he said, get out of my car. And I was like, what are you talking about? Get out your car. He said, get out of my car. I feel like you was trying to give me that S. Like, he went flat off. He went off so bad, y'all, I got so scared that I just got out the car because I felt like he would have hurt me. And it wasn't like I was hiding it. I told him. So when he said that, I got out of the car. I stood there for probably about a minute or two crying, panicked, because I'm nowhere near home. I'm all the way across the bridge. So I had called one of my friends, and I called them. I told them what had happened. They knew who the person was because, I have friends, and I got close friends who I confide in with stuff. And so I say, please come pick me up, take me home. Listen, I kid you not, I was like, what, 25, 20, I was about 26 years old. I was still living with my parents. Because of course after the whole incident happened, my parents was like real protective over me. You gonna be here with us for a while. And so my parents, until my parents read my book, they did not know that my friend brought me home and not the person who picked me up. They didn't know it. Cause see, my dad, he ain't cray-cray, but he cray-cray. My dad is ex-Army. My dad discharged papers for his duty in the Army said unclassified. I don't know what my dad did in the Army, and whatever he did, he can't discuss it. So I was definitely not going to tell him. So when they read the book, they was like, I remember that night. I said, yeah, that's what happened. And so from that moment on, I vowed and I said to myself, never will I ever wait. I'm going to tell them up front. I say, if they tell me no, they don't want to be with me, they don't want to date me, guess what? It's almost like telemarketing or selling something. You're going to get 100 no's before you get one yes. I might meet 100 men who tell me, no, 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 no. I don't want to be with you. I don't want to deal with it. I'll be your friend. This and that and the other. But guess what? At some point, that one will come along and show you that it's okay. That they understand, they're educated. Whether they're positive or negative, that one person is going to come along. And that's what I tell my people who reach out to me and say, you know what, I'm scared to date, I'm scared to do this, I'm scared, like, I'm just going to be alone for the rest of my life. And I try to tell them, like, look, you're going to go through trials. You're going to go through sadness. You're going to go through depression and crying when it comes to dating. You're going to meet people who you're going to tell your status and they're going to make you feel like crap. But at the end of the day, you have to put on that armor of God, and you have to be strong, and you have to understand that regardless of what negativity comes your way, you are still a person. You are still very much cared for and loved, whether it's by nobody but God. You know, so I just said at that moment, I said, you know what, I don't care. And then it just, from there, it just became a thing of, you know, okay, you know, I was already a speaker. You know, my biggest issue right now, I'm going to tell y'all going to think I'm crazy. My biggest issue right now with dating, period. Like, I've dated negative people. I've dated positive people. I've dated negative and positive. And so, my biggest issue is what I'm doing with you guys right now. I kid you not. Being an advocate and open about my status, like, I don't have my status. People could see me in Walmart and stop me down the aisle. Is that LadyByrd? That look like LadyByrd? I have you walk up to me. You on Facebook? Your name LadyByrd? Like, my openness is what affects my dating life. No lie. Because people are that afraid that if somebody see them with me out in public, they're going to assume that, dang, well, she got HIV. So if they with her and they out on a date or they chilling, they must be got it too. That's my biggest issue. It's not that I'm HIV positive. It's that I'm open about my status and they afraid that somebody going to assume they got it. That's my... Because most of the people who I date, who I find that I date are positive, they family members don't know. They have no support system. That's why my preference is to not date people who are positive, because the level I am on as an HIV positive person is on a whole nother level than somebody else who's HIV positive. Most other people who are HIV positive and they're not open, they're in hiding. Nobody knows. No family, no kids, no nothing. I dated a guy. I almost married a guy who his own kids ain't know. And he had teenagers. I told him, I say, what you gonna do? I say, what you think gonna happen when you die for whatever reason, natural death or whatever, when you die and they get that death certificate and they see on that death certificate that you was HIV positive. Like, you need to let your family and friends know now, because that's where your support comes from. You might lose some family and friends and communication and stuff, but guess what? That's okay. But I guarantee you're going to have family and friends that's going to support you and be there for you. You know, so did I miss some questions? Because I told y'all I don't be reading when I'm talking. So before I get off of here, because I believe we've been on here almost an hour, so that means it's almost 10 o'clock p.m. My bad, y'all. My mom is calling me. She like, what you doing? You watching your sister's video? Because my best friend, I call her my sister. We've been friends since she was 2 and I was 4. She sell jewelry too. She on live right now selling jewelry. My mama watching her on Facebook. Why did I make my mama Facebook page? I don't know. She like, you watching Miriam? No, I'm not watching her. I'm on here educating these people. Bye, I'll call you back. But any questions before I get off of here? Because I'm going to get off of here and finish doing my little bit of stuff. All right, so Destiny wants to know what's the name of my book. My name of my book is Married, But It Can Happen. Married, But It Can Happen. I have posted links on my page recently because a lot of people have been asking me. So I have posted a link that takes you to my autobiography. As well, I've written a teen book. If you guys have teenagers, my teenage book, it's a short book. The ebook is like 21 pages. The paperback is a little more pages, but it's not a long book. It's for teens. You know, they got a short attention span. I make sure I include all educational definitions. I break it down so they understand it. It's explained very well. There's 4 short stories in that book. One is called My Nana. One is called That Day with Dad. Another one is called Peer Pressure. And then the 4th story is called, what's it called? I can't even think, y'all. It's called My Best Friend Jasmine. So there's 4 short stories in my teen book. And all of those stories are different scenarios of someone, of HIV in a teen's life. The book is called HIV Around Me. And it talks about how a teenager has experienced HIV around them. Whether it was them or someone around them. Let's see. Can you repeat a little from the beginning? Treasure, I promise you, as soon as I end this video, it's going to start right at the beginning. So I don't want to kind of go backwards because I don't want to confuse a lot of people or people who are just tuning in ask questions that have already been addressed. So I promise you, when this video ends, it's only about an hour long because I'm not going to try to go over the hour mark. I was checking the time. Let's see. Can you explain what happened again? Sum it up since half of us are new. So I will briefly do that. I will briefly tell you guys how I became infected. But let me make sure there's not any other questions from people who've been watching the live this whole time. If you guys are posting phone numbers on here, I encourage you to not do that. Because that's going to leave you open for getting crazy phone calls from you, God knows who. So please, if you post your phone numbers, delete them. If you need me to call you for purposes of education and support, please inbox your phone numbers. If you trying to date me, take me out to eat, all that, I'm so sorry. Me so sorry. Me no can do that. So if it's about business, if it's about support, if it's about needing help with any personal problem, definitely reach out. If it's about anything other than that, I apologize, but I do not patronize my when it comes to what I do as far as my awareness. I just can't. Was I afraid that my kids would have AIDS? No. Now let me tell you guys this. It's called HIV. Never assume that somebody has AIDS. I know a lot of people, if they're an older adult, they may just still say AIDS because in the 70s, 80s, 90s, that was all they knew about until scientists discovered that HIV was what was the initial infection. And if you didn't take care of yourself, you went into an AIDS status. So just for the sake of education real quick, anybody who is HIV positive, they're HIV positive. The only time somebody is considered considered as having AIDS is if a doctor has clinically diagnosed them as having AIDS. So say you go without taking your medicine, you're non-compliant, and you go to the doctor, your CD4 count is where it's not supposed to be, your viral load is sky high. You are at some point considered to have an AIDS diagnosis. Now, once you get an AIDS diagnosis, you are now considered an AIDS patient. On your chart, it will say that you have AIDS. Now, if you're only HIV positive, you never got an AIDS diagnosis, your chart will say you're HIV positive. And another thing, there's no such thing as full blown. I, for the life of me, do not know where that word came from. I know it came from like the 70s and 80s, but there's no such thing as full blown. You either have HIV or you've went into an AIDS diagnosis. There's no such thing as full blown. There's no in between. None of that. Now, you can get an AIDS diagnosis, and with medicines and doing what the doctor tells you to do, your body can go back into an AIDS status with your numbers, your viral load and CD4s. But your chart clinically will still say AIDS. So I hope that gave some clarification to a lot of people. And also, by show of hands, because I want to throw this out there because I want to see how many people know this. Put a 1 up on the screen if there's more than one, if there's more than one HIV. If you believe that there's more than one HIV, put a 1 on the screen. If you like, what you mean, lady? You crazy. Ain't no such thing as more than one HIV. Put a 2 on the screen. So if you believe that there's more than one HIV, put a 1 up. If you say, nah, HIV is HIV, put a 2 up. I want to see how many people pay attention when you actually go and get tested. All right, I'm seeing some 1s on the screen. No 2s? What? No 2s? No 2s? Okay. All right. I see a 2. Cool. All right. I see some more 1s. All right. So, here's the breakdown. If you put a 1 up on the screen, then you definitely have been paying attention somewhere in your life. Not to say that if you put a 2 up, you haven't been paying attention. You probably just never been educated on it. And that's okay, because I'm about to help you out. So the next time somebody asks some question like that, you're going to be a number 1, baby. All right, so there are 2 types of HIV. HIV-1 and HIV-2. So what is HIV-1? HIV-1 is basically the HIV that I have. The HIV that most people have. Most people in the world, the United States, have what's called HIV-1. So when you go and take a test, it'll have HIV-1. Now, there is what's called HIV-2. So it'll have HIV-2. Now, what's the difference? What is the difference between HIV-1 and HIV-2? HIV-1, it actually progresses faster than HIV-2. HIV-2 is only found predominantly in West Africa. It's found only predominantly in Western Africa. Most people with HIV-2 in Western Africa never have to take medicine. They never have to take any kind of medicine. Like, they just they get diagnosed. Okay, you got HIV-2, and they go on by their business. Because HIV-2 progresses very slow. It progresses very slow. Like, can a sister get some HIV-2 right? Like, I'm saying that in a joking way, but I'm just saying because look at the difference in the two. HIV-2 progresses slow. HIV-1, you don't do nothing, they're going to take you out of here so fast. You know, how is Magic Johnson living with it so long? Magic Johnson takes his medication. He does what the doctor says. Magic Johnson literally is still HIV positive. He's not been cured. He ain't got all these millions of dollars that he don't win and got a cure. He take one pill once a day. He ain't cured. He ain't none of that. He take one pill once a day. That's what he been doing. That's why he's able to be healthy. He's able to, live. He's not cured. He'll tell you straight up, I'm not cured. I'm undetectable. I take my medicine. So that's how the same way I'm living long. This will be 12 years this year, November. 12 years. I just took my medicine earlier before I got on video and ate and stuff. You take your medicine. Let's see. All right, I'm 5 minutes over my time, so I'm going to give y'all 5 more minutes to throw any more questions out you want me to answer while I briefly go over my story real quick because a couple people. So basically, I ended up dating and marrying a friend that I had for years before we dated and got married. We were friends. Before we got married, I said to him I wanted to get tested. Because I went yearly as a phlebotomist, I got tested yearly anyway. So it was time for me to go get tested. I said, why don't we just go to your primary care physician so that I can go ahead and get established as a patient. Since we getting ready to get married, we might as well go to the same primary family doctor. And I, get established as a patient. We get tested and then go on. So we made an appointment. We went to his doctor. Now, I had no idea that his primary care physician knew his status. And I knew none of this. I didn't know that while I was getting tested in one room, he was in the other room talking to the doctor. The doctor told him, now you know you're HIV positive. You need to tell her. You either need to tell her today or you need to guarantee me that you are going to tell her because she needs to know. And he let him know it's against the law for you not to tell her. He assured the doctor that he was going to tell me. He assured the doctor, okay, I'm going to tell her. I just got to tell her when the time is right. He's had issues in the past with telling people and they left. So he assured the doctor he was going to tell me basically. So before we ever went and got tested, we agreed that we would sit in front of the doctor and we would tell each other our test results once they told us our test results. So that was the agreement we came up. People like, oh, why you didn't do this, and this. It's besides the point. He and I, as fiancés, agreed that we would come together in front of the doctor and disclose our status. Because who would lie in front of a doctor, right? Like, literally. Who? Him. And probably many other people. Never in a million years would you think somebody would sit there and lie in front of a doctor. So we're sitting in front of the doctor. I tell him my test results are negative. He tells me his test results are negative. The doctor continued the visit as he would any doctor's visit. So I left that doctor's visit with the impression that my fiance and I were both negative. Now fast forward to the day before our wedding. Now keep in mind that I have known his mom just as long as I've known him as being his friend. I knew his mom all that time before I dated him, all that. She was like a family friend. And so she had plenty time. His mom had plenty of time before the day before the wedding. And that's what I try to get people to understand, the time period. People see that post and they're like, oh, well, the mom tried to tell you. No, listen. We went probably like April or May. So before the summer, we got married in August. So we got married in the fall. So, or like the end of summer. So she had all this time. Even when we got engaged, she had time. When we was dating, she had time. So there was always time for her to come to me and say, hey, my son told me that he told you he was HIV positive. And she would have knew in that moment of saying that to me way before the day before the wedding, she would have knew I didn't know. But she waited till the day before our wedding to come to me and say, go, this is her exact words. Go and ask him about HIV. That's like saying, go ask LadyByrd or Renee about Walmart. Go ask Renee about some McDonald's sweet tea. Go ask Renee about the best schools in the district. That's just saying go ask somebody something. So she said, go and ask him about HIV. So you know what I did? I went to him. I said, come here. We went in his mother's garage. We stood right at her back door, her garage, in the garage. All three of us. And I said to him, I said, your mother just told me to come and ask you about HIV. What is she talking about? He looked at me. He looked at his mama. I don't know what she talking about. I don't know nothing about no HIV. I don't know where she get that from. This is what he's saying in front of his mama's face. That he don't know what she talking about. At that point, his mama should have said, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're HIV positive since August 2002. You told me you told her. You ain't tell her. Because she just not finding out the day before the wedding. That is what his mama should have been saying. But you know what his mama did? She ain't part of her lip. She ain't say nothing. So for anybody who gets on that post and they say, you know, oh, you should have took the mama hint. You should have took this. Listen. Ain't no such thing as a hint. I'm a straightforward, direct person. I'm going to keep it straightforward, 100% real at all times. I'm going to tell it like it is. I ain't going to beat around no bush. I ain't going to insinuate. I ain't going to hint at nothing. I've never been a subliminal type of person. When I was on Facebook real hard back in the day, I would tag you and have a whole argument with you and not care about nothing. I've never been subliminal. So, when people come on there, I just ignore it because I'm like, okay, I know what happened. I know what it did. And at this point now, so many people have seen me post and say, listen, his mama ain't open her mouth when she got confronted. They telling it for me. I ain't even got to post it. So those people that have been doing that, I definitely appreciate y'all. Because I ain't doing it no more. I'm not doing it no more. That's why at the beginning of this video, I said, yes, I share my story. Yes, my story is circulating and it's going around. But at the end of the day, you guys, at the very end of the day, it's about education. It's about awareness. It's about you guys understanding what to do to protect yourself from contracting this virus, from having to deal with take medicine every day. I hate taking medicine. I ain't never liked to take medicine in my life. Unless it was some bubble gum, that pink bubble gum and amoxicillin. I take some bubble gum medicine all day, but don't give me nothing else. My grandma used to try to make me take castor oil. I don't want it. What you doing? No, grandma. But I got to take medicine not every day. Thankfully, it's not like it was early on where I got to take 15, 20, 30 pills. I'm down. I take 2 pills once a day. And I'm thankful for that. But my focus is educating. That's what I do. If you go back on my page, look at old videos, that's all I did. That's the beginning of this year. That's what I did. The very beginning of this year, January. I did January, February, and I believe I went into March. Nothing but education. I educated every week. Every week I had a scheduled live where I started from the beginning to the end. I started with what is HIV and AIDS all the way down to how to protect yourself and all that stuff. I did that. I do it every year. I do it once a year, the beginning of every year, because every year a new person is introduced to my page. So I try every year at the beginning of the year to do a whole educational class, so to speak. But yeah, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. I'm finna get ready, get myself situated for bed, and make sure I got all this stuff ready for school tomorrow. I don't want to leave anything out of anybody's book bag. So I'm trying to make sure I got all my P's and Q's and all that stuff. But if you guys have any questions you want to ask me, I see somebody keep asking where is he at now. He's out of jail. He is out of jail. He is not in jail. He got out of jail March 2012. So he is not in jail. I'm not obligated to tell you where he actually is. I have told, if you come across it, then there you go. I'm not obligated to tell anybody where he is or his name or what he looks like. If you find it, that is at your own discretion, you guys. Hey, Shirley, you sure have. I know I remember that name, Lil Lucy. My daughter is doing good. All of them. My oldest one, she a teenager. You know how that goes, child. But she a good teenager. And I want you guys to understand, don't focus so much on how he looks or where he's at. Because I had people say, well, I need to know what he looked like in case I ever run into him. Listen, in case you run into him, guess what? You could run into somebody like him. So it don't matter what he looked like or his name or where he lived. You could encounter somebody just like him. So it's up to you to follow suit, know your status, know the person's status, whether it's him or not. Am I married now? Absolutely not. No. I am not married. I have been divorced now 3 years from my second marriage. I've been divorced, and I don't think I want to do it again. I don't want to do it no more. Don't. All right, you guys, have a wonderful evening. I'm getting off of here. Again, if you need to message me, please do. My messages are going to be going to away status. So if you do inbox me, please leave a full message. Don't just say hey, because then all I got to do is all I can do when you say hey in the inbox is come back and say hey. And then probably in 2 days when I get right back to your message, then I'm like, okay, well, is it something I can do for you? And then I gotta wait. Like, just if you inbox me, just go ahead into whatever it is you want to say to me or tell me, so that we can get the conversation going. If you need help, we can get help. If we need to conversate on the phone, we can do that. However, but please, if you guys inbox me, please inbox me with full detailed messages. Everything is 100% confidential. It does not leave my inbox for whatever reason. All right, you guys. I'm getting off of here. You all have a good night. Thank you guys for tuning in, getting this education. Hey, Monica. Hey, Gary. Thanks for getting this education, this information. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week. It's Monday, y'all. It's almost Monday. Start your week off right. Wake up in the morning with a smile so the rest of your week can flow and be prosperous. All right? All right, you guys. Good night.